Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This time we are talking about The Room, the Citizen Kane of bad movies. I figured it was only fair. I just kind of covered this already because I'm kind of developing by accident a series where I just go into some of the more obscure, random, whether they be terrible or campy or just infamous movies of all time. So I figured it was only fair I covered The Room. The Room is a 2003 film written by, produced by, funded by, directed by, and starring Tommy Wiseau. It cost him $6 million to make because of some terrible decision making. Decisions like he wanted to be the first director in history to simultaneously direct a film in HD and film, and then only ended up using footage from the film cameras, and also instead of renting his equipment, he bought it. It was just plenty of decisions like that that cost The Room $6 million. Also the fact that he went through 3 crews in order to get this final product out there. So yeah, let's just get right into The Room. Our opening shot, after many random shots of San Francisco, we meet Johnny, the nicest guy in the world, played by Tommy Wiseau, and very much written by Tommy Wiseau, who comes home to his soon-to-be wife, or his future wife, his fiancée, Lisa. He has bought her a red dress, and he tells her she's allowed to try it on, and then some lad called Denny just sort of breaks into their house and asks them how much the dress was, which, weird question to ask. And then their response to this, Johnny and Lisa, is to just go upstairs to their bedroom, and Denny follows them up and they have a pillow fight. Denny didn't know they were going upstairs for a pillow fight. He kind of just went upstairs to join in, I guess, and in so many words, Johnny tells him to fuck off, and his response to this is, "Oh, but I like to watch you guys," which means, this isn't an isolated incident, Denny, what the fuck, man? Then we get a 3-minute sex scene. 6 minutes into the movie, we have the pleasure of seeing Tommy Wiseau's right arse cheek as he puts it in her belly button. It's been covered many times, I'm just going to kind of speed over it, but he puts it in her belly button. He missed. He put it in her belly button. And then after that, we just get a shot of a completely naked Tommy Wiseau leaving the room just so he could get his arse out on screen, I guess, because the next shot is him coming back into the room fully clothed. No one wanted to see that, Tommy. No one wanted to see your arse crack. Then Lisa's mother comes over, my favourite character in the movie, because she often breaks the fourth wall and just talks about how ridiculous the whole movie is. She comes over and Lisa tells her mom after Johnny has left that she doesn't love Johnny anymore. And Lisa's mom is like, yeah, but he's rich. So and yeah, that is literally the moral of their conversations. She always says she wants to leave Johnny, and the mom's like, nah, but he's rich, so don't. Approximately 1 minute later, Lisa's mom says she has to go. This is a thing all characters in The Room do. Approximately, a minute after they've entered a room, is they announce that they have to go. So Lisa then rings Mark, Johnny's best friend. He's really busy, sitting in a parked car. So they say that they're going to meet up, when he's not so busy. And then they do meet up, and yeah, Mark and Lisa flirt with each other, and Mark's like, what are you doing? Well, whilst she's on him, she says, I like you very much, lover boy. And Mark's response to this is, nah, I'm good, thanks. And he's like, yeah, come on, it's my best mate's wedding in a month and you're getting married to him, leave us alone. So Mark, being the good mate, he's like, no. He just pure turns her down, except for the bit where he wears the face off her. Bit of a dick move, Mark. They then have their own sex scene. We are 16 minutes in. This time it's on the stairs. This one also lasts 3 minutes. 6 minutes of the first 16 of this film were sex scenes, and about a minute of it was the opening credits. This is a cinematic masterpiece, everybody. After they have finished sex, Mark says, why did you do this to me? To Lisa. No, mate. Think you're both equally to blame there, you dick. So then we cut to Johnny, who is in a flower shop, and we get an iconic scene.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is the Citizen Kane of bad movies, okay? And the audio dubbing in this movie is just simply iconic. This scene just flies by. It's like 15 seconds of footage and about 40 seconds of dialogue, and it's just all crammed in there, and it's a completely robotic interaction between Johnny and this woman who owns a florist. Basically the whole point of this scene was so that Johnny could buy Lisa flowers, but also so that we would all find out that even the florist, who didn't even recognize Johnny, her favorite customer at first, thinks he's the greatest human being in the world. But yes, he is portrayed as the greatest human being in the world. He's got a stable job, he's got money, he's told by everyone that he's great, so he must be the best person ever. Danny then lets himself back into Johnny and Lisa's gaff and asks Lisa for a kiss. She's like, no. And he was like, well, I was joking, obviously. Danny, you're a creep. And then, just like every other character, he just is like, oh, well, I gotta go, because, you know, he was only going there for one thing. Johnny comes home with flowers, and he tells Lisa that he didn't get this promotion work he was looking for. And she's like, oh, so did you not get the promotion then? And then Johnny is like, listen, I don't care if you order pizza, and I don't drink. So then that night they got pizza and they drank. Although Lisa did force the drink on him, she did say, if you love me, you'll drink this. So yeah, I think I hate everyone in this, except for Lisa's mom. She is very much us in the movie, constantly asking what the fuck is going on. They awkwardly, drunkenly flirt, and then we have another sex scene. We are 25 minutes in. Then cut to Lisa's mom coming over. She's like, hey Lisa, I have breast cancer. Lisa's like, you're grand. She's like, yeah, I probably am. And then they talk about the fact that Lisa is now accusing Johnny of getting drunk last night and hitting her, kind of as I suppose an easy way of breaking up with Johnny is to put out this rumor so that everyone thinks he's abusive, and then they'll all side with her. I don't know, I'm trying to make sense of the room here, bear with me. And Lisa's mom just out straight calls her a liar. She's like, I didn't hit you. What? What? Yeah, it's a strange scene. It's a very strange interaction. Also, that breast cancer thing, yeah, that never gets mentioned again. And then some random couple we've never met before let themselves into Johnny's gaff, and the girl gives the guy head. I guess, like, what? These characters, we revisit maybe one more time in the whole movie. Once or twice, they are revisited again, and Lisa and her mom walk in on them, and they're like, oh, you guys breaking and entering into my apartment so that you can have sex, and it's you guys. And they leg it, and then Lisa and her mom again just have another conversation. Denny the home invader just kind of rocks up, and then Lisa's mom, my hero, just breaks the fourth wall again, and she just says, how many people just come in and out of this apartment every day? Thank you, Lisa's mom. Colette, I think her name is. Thank you for addressing that. The amount of people who must, like, I don't know what passage of time goes by in this movie, but it feels like every day there's like 40 new people that we meet in Johnny's gaff. It's the room. The mom leaves, and then we cut to Denny on a rooftop, and some drug dealer just rocks up with a gun and makes Denny cry, and he's like, where's my money, bitch? where did this come from? Danny's like, I'll give it to you in 5 minutes, man. And then Mark and Johnny just get to the rooftop somehow, and they're like, oh, get off him. And they like grab the drug dealer, and they like take his gun. Johnny takes his gun, and they just kind of take him off the roof to the police station. And then Lisa and her mom just show up on the roof, and oh my fucking god, the woman who plays Lisa kills me in this movie, because if she's not monotone, it's just ear-piercing screeching. So her approach is not explain to me everything that's happened there. We're gonna resolve this. We're gonna take him down to the police station. We're gonna make sure this doesn't happen to you ever again. No, she's screeching parts of her lines at him. What kind of drugs do you take? You know Johnny's like a father to you. Yes, even the woman who is cheating on Johnny is putting over Johnny as this legendary human on occasion, because she has to, because guess who bankrolled the film? The next scene after this is Mark and Lisa on the phone to each other, where hilariously Lisa's like, Mark, I miss you so much, and Mark is like, I just saw you, like literally in the last scene. We were there together. It's amazing. And then we cut to the iconic scene where Johnny comes onto the roof and he declares he did not hit her. He did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
You know, it's not true. It's bullshit, after all. Mark and Johnny talk about women exactly how you would expect two men in the room to talk about women. And then Mark tells this really grisly story of this woman he knew who was a cheater, and she got beaten to a pulp and was left in hospital. And it's, you know, in fairness, it is like a 3-second story, and Johnny's response to this is, haha, cool story, man, or something like that. No, what a great story. You know, the writing in this movie is just some of the worst, possibly the worst I've ever seen. Actually, I think it is the worst movie I've ever seen, writing wise. Yeah, no, writing wise, this is definitely the pits of cinema. Mark then just kind of storms off, and Danny just shows up, and the two throw an American football. They play catch, which throughout this movie they address as football. They are playing football, apparently. I thought football was a much more complex sport than that. And Danny then just declares that he fancies Lisa to, you know, her fiance. And Johnny, I'm going to do that a lot. And Johnny is like, it's grand. Sure, she loves you too, as a mate. And Danny's like, oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to marry Elizabeth and have babies with her. Who's Elizabeth, you ask? I don't fucking know. We don't even see her. We then see Lisa chatting with her mate, who I think is the woman in the couple who just broke into her gaff and had sex. I'm not sure though. And Lisa tells her that Johnny was drunk and he hit her, and her mate's response to this is to just completely brush it off and be like, yeah, but why don't you want to marry him? He's Johnny. I mean, she did just tell you that he hit her. I know it's not true, but that is something you would probably, you know, factor in when you're thinking, oh god, I already don't really want to marry this person. But no, she's like, oh, but Johnny's the greatest person ever. Why wouldn't you want to marry Johnny? Johnny then walks in on the conversation, and he hears the line, oh, well, that'll be our secret anyway, or something like that. And the mate just legs it when Johnny comes in, you know, not suspicious at all. Johnny and Lisa then have this really weird conversation, because, you know, she's basically told every character that she hates being with Johnny, and she finds him boring, and she's just happy to cheat on him. She's like, oh, do you know what, I might not marry you, which, you know, big red flag, Johnny, come on. And his response to this is the iconic, you're tearing me apart, Lisa line, but I can't do it like Tommy. Go ahead, Tommy.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Lisa then storms off, and then we see Johnny in an alleyway with that lad who had sex in his gaff. and the lad who had sex in his gaff basically just rehashes the whole story to us so far. Then Denny shows up and they play American football. Again, not a very complex sport, it seems. It seemed way more complex before The Room. It's actually quite a simple sport apparently. And then Mark shows up and accidentally shoves the sex guy into a bin, and it like hurts his ribs, so them two leave, and then Johnny and Denny leave. That is that scene, yes. Lisa and her mom are at home, and her mom is starting to just talk about how it's getting increasingly harder to mooch off successful bank man Johnny. And, you know, I think this is where the gears are starting to turn, where maybe she doesn't like Johnny anymore. The mom this is. Lisa just outright admits that she's been cheating on him to her mom here. But Johnny's actually in the room. He can hear all of this. And again, Lisa's mom, my queen, just plays the audience again as after, you know, announcing that she's cheating on Johnny. Lisa's mom's like, who with? Lisa's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And she's like, well, then why the fuck did you bring it up? Yes! Go on, Colette. They leave and Tommy sets up a tape recorder to record, you know, many days worth of conversation on this one small tape, which I don't think is possible. And you know, we watch him for like, I don't know, 2 minutes setting up the tape recorder, just like fumbling with the wires for some reason. I don't know. I guess it you know, it adds a bit of realism to the movie. The real struggle of Johnny is personified by his struggle to set up a tape recorder. We then have Johnny talking to another mate who we've never seen before. His name's Peter. I don't think we see him again, actually. Well, we get one more scene with him after this. And he's a psychologist. And Johnny's like, oh, I need your help, man. Lisa is cheating on me. And Peter is like, tell me about it. And Johnny's like, why the fuck you trying to play psychologist on me, man? You asked him to. Mark then comes in and they're all like, oh, Johnny, tell the story of how you met her. And he just tells the shittest, most boring story ever. It, like, I get it was like the actual way he met his actual, I don't know, ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whatever that this is loosely based off of. But come on, add some spice. It is a movie after all. That was a very boring fucking story. Then Lisa shows up. Then Denny shows up. Then the new guy leaves. Then Denny leaves. Then the new guy goes to the roof. And then Mark goes to the roof. I don't actually know what Denny did there. He just kind of went in and went back out again. It's Denny. Home invader. He just kind of does that sort of stuff. It's just like, it's his MO. Mark literally just opens up to this guy Peter and tells him that he wants to kill himself because of what he's done. And then Peter's like, oh, you must have had an affair with Lisa. And Johnny's your best friend. You know, a normal thing you would gather from someone being like, yo, I want to kill myself. Is that what he's like to all his patients? If he's a, you know, a psychiatrist, I think he's a psychiatrist. You know, if his patients are like, yeah, no, I've not been feeling good today, he just throws a random accusation at him. Oh, you were the guy that robbed that bank 2 weeks ago. Peter is the worst psychiatrist in the history of cinema. Gotta give him that one, and I'm pretty sure we never see him again, actually. So, good riddance to you, mate. He goes off on a real high note for The Room, as him and Mark just talk about women, how men in the room talk about women. Cut to all the lads in tuxes. It's wedding time. No, it's not. I thought it was wedding time. I have it in my notes. Cut to the wedding. No, they just all decided to randomly wear suits so that they could go outside and play football, aka catch, just so, oh, never mind, he's still in the scene. What am I talking about? Just so Peter can fall flat on his face in iconic fashion. Mark has shaved his beard, which everyone loses their shit about. And then we get a scene in a coffee shop with Mark and Johnny, where Mark just asks Johnny about work, and Johnny's like, hey man, that's confidential, that's private, you can't ask me about that. So how's your sex life? We then just cut straight to a Lisa and Mark sex scene. In fairness, it's been half an hour since we'd had sex in this movie, which is long overdue for The Room formula. And yeah, this one just kind of goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And then we cut to Johnny and Mark throwing a football, and the music is too loud so we can't actually hear what they're saying. We then see Mark go over to Lisa's and they have sex again. This time Michelle, that friend who had sex in Lisa's gaff, comes over and interrupts. So then Mark has to go, and then Lisa and Michelle set the house up for a big party. Where whilst they're setting it up, Lisa also admits that she's using Mark. She's using him just so that she can live. Even though she's also just told everyone that she loves Mark. So I don't know what her motivations are anymore. Lisa and her mom then have a chat, and Lisa's like to her mom, "Oh, I love Mark." And Lisa's mom's like, "Yeah, but I'm depressed, and I manipulated your father into marriage, and I never loved him, so you should manipulate the right person into marriage, and that's Johnny." That's some weird, heavy, weird stuff. Lisa's mom, I'm starting to not like you anymore. Johnny then goes out on a walk and comes home, and it's a surprise birthday party. We then get like minutes worth of indistinct chatter, which we can't hear because the music's too loud and the audio's too quiet. But let's be real, I don't think they were talking about anything too human anyway. Lisa announces, "Everyone, let's go out and get fresh air," and everyone like cheers and goes outside just so her and Mark can have the room to themselves. And then some random guy we've never met before, who is the worst actor in the movie, comes in and he's like, "Oh, you guys are horrible, why are you doing this?" And Mark is like, "Keep your opinions in your pocket, man." And then Johnny walks in, and this guy who's telling them they're the worst people in the world says nothing to Johnny. Weird. They then go outside, and Johnny announces, "Hey everyone, me and Lisa are expecting." Cut to Lisa with that new guy being like, "Oh yeah, we're not expecting. I just told them we were having a baby to make things interesting." What the fuck? Lisa, you are the worst human being in the world, and I know you're written to just be this horrible human being, because this movie is written by Tommy Wiseau, who is in fact playing Johnny. But come on, that's kind of mental. The new guy comes to some random conclusion that Mark doesn't actually love her back, and then she announces that everyone in the party should like go back inside and eat cake, because that is not an outdoor activity. Mark asks if the baby is his to Lisa, and she's like, "You fucking idiot, I'm not telling you." What? And then they get into a bit of a kerfuffle, and Johnny comes over and separates them, I guess. And then he tries to fight Mark, and then Mark tries to fight Johnny. So Johnny's like, "Oh no, we're friends again, you fucking bitch." Yeah, Johnny's like, "Hey Lisa, let's go outside and talk." And he just goes out by himself. And Lisa and Mark, we then see, are like pure on each other, like in front of everyone in the room, and they're not saying anything. Johnny comes back in and he's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And him and Mark get into a second kerfuffle, and this one has to be separated by everyone in the room. That's why it's called The Room. No, I don't. I think it's called The Room because the whole movie is just basically set in Johnny's sitting room. We then cut to Lisa's mom telling her that she cleaned the kitchen. Thank you for that information, Lisa's mom. And then she leaves the movie. That's the last we see of her. And Lisa is now upstairs waiting for Johnny to come out of the bathroom after that whole thing. And then he won't come out, so she rings Mark and she's like, "Yo Mark, I love you." So then Tommy comes out, or Johnny comes out. You know, I'm not even gonna correct myself anymore. Johnny comes out and he's like, "Haha, I've been recording your phone call conversations, gotcha." And plays it out loud and finds out that, you know, she's been necking on with his best pal Mark. So she leaves. Johnny pure wrecks the gaff in slow motion. He's crying, he's screaming, and then he finds the gun that drug dealer had, and shoots himself in the head in super slow motion. And we cut to it. That was so dark. We cut to Mark and Lisa getting home, and they find his dead body, and Mark, is holding his dead body, and Lisa's like, is he dead? Like, fuck off, Lisa. Come on. Stay the literal Captain Obvious of the movie. The Captain Obvious award goes to Lisa from The Room. She just states things that are clearly happening. And Mark's like, well, yeah, he's dead. And it's your fault. And just pure dumps her. He's like, yeah, no, you caused all this. Wasn't me. All you. He's dead because of you. Sloan. And then Denny the home invader lets himself into a crime scene, basically. And he's crying over Johnny's dead body. And he's like, leave us alone, to Lisa and Mark. He basically kicks Lisa out of her own gaff, just so he could be here with a dead body. Wouldn't trust him there, to be honest. Denny's a bit creepy. But no, all the characters just kind of, those three characters all just have a big cry over Johnny's dead body. And that's the end of the movie. The Room, right. From a technical standpoint, it is the worst movie I've ever seen, with the worst writing I've ever seen, the worst screenplay, the worst audio dubbing, the worst pacing. This movie has no structure whatsoever. The acting is abysmal. Tommy Wiseau is not an actor. Lisa in this movie is horrendous. Mark is not good either. And then obviously we got just like a litany of random friends who we just kind of meet once or twice, and none of them are good either. However, I gotta be honest, people. I do think this movie is worth a watch. Why? Well, because listen, if you watch this how I watched it, which is you load up a game of FIFA, and anytime there's a sex scene, you just unpause it, and then when the sex scene ends, you pause it again. This movie flies by, I'll be honest. But if you're going to this movie to the cinema, or like watching it in the living room with, oh god, I couldn't imagine watching this with family or even friends. It would be a bit much. Actually, no. Okay, so there's definitely friends who I'd watch this with. But yeah, The Room is definitely one of a kind. It's a disaster class. It spawned books, documentaries, and a movie. And ultimately, it is definitely the Citizen Kane of bad movies, in my opinion. I think that is a fair title for this movie, the Citizen Kane of bad movies. The Room is well and truly something you need to see once in your life. That was something, wasn't it? Now, if there's anything else you want to see me review or talk about, whether it be a movie or a series of movies, just leave it in the comments. I am so open to ideas in the comments. Anything you want me to make, genuinely put it in the comments, and I will keep it in mind. Because although I tend to have like my next 4 or 5 videos in my head, like that is, if you think about it, a fairly quick cycle. Like that kind of covers a month and a bit, or a month. So feel free to throw some ideas at me, some movies you want to see me cover in the comments, and I will happily oblige. Now, I have to run to college. I'm in a huge rush. Shit. Goodbye.